Creating something new in airsoft is very difficult, not just creatively, but also financially. You need to find something that people are going to like, they'll be invested in, and will have a lifetime. It needs to be productive and warrant demand over a period of time. So you have to find something that's very cost effective. And for ages in airsoft, we see a lot of recycled platforms and ideas. So a great example would be the Armourer Works high cappers. It's a similar design to Wii, it's a similar design to TM. It looks a bit different, but really it all boils down to being very similar or subpar. And it's a safe bet because you know people want that platform. It looks nice, but it's not very creative, financially stable, but not very creative. And so it's nice to see risks come along. So recently, a company called Action Army, who mainly make parts through the VSR-10 platform, decided they would venture into their first gas blowback pistol, called the AAP-01. It's based off the real steel Ruger Mark IV, but it sort of has an airsoft twist. It uses primarily Glock internals with some few minor exceptions. One of the most unique things about the AAP-01 is its cycle system. It uses an integral bolt, so there is no moving slide. This gives the potential for high cycle speed and efficiency. And we're going to talk a bit more on that later. It comes in black and flat dark earth in terms of total body color. It can do semi and fully automatic, which I'll show how to change later. And Action Army also released it with a bunch of aftermarket parts already, so there's plenty of customization available. I'll show another AAP-01 that I've been building and you'll see the difference between them. One of the biggest selling points on the AAP-01 is its price. It is only £90, sub $100 pretty much worldwide. So in this review, we're going to talk about if that is worth the money, and if this was a successful creative risk by Action Army. So we'll start with construction. It is mainly made out of polymer. There are some zinc alloy type parts, some steel screws, metal screws, but for the most part it's polymer. The polymer parts include the threads of the barrel hidden under this thread protector. These are 14mm counterclockwise. Due to the threads being polymer, they are quite thin and therefore pretty frail. You have to be very careful not to cross-thread the threads in these, so take extra care when applying a suppressor or tracer. The upper receiver is also polymer. The bolt is some sort of metal, I'm not totally sure what, but it is fairly lightweight, resulting in pretty good cycle, but I doubt it's aluminium. The sights are also polymer, but they're fiber optic, which makes it great for acquiring a target very quickly. The trigger is also polymer, and so is the majority of the lower. There will soon be new options for the upper receiver to be made out of metal. The AAP-01 is also fully ambidextrous. This includes the safety, the slide release, or bolt release in this case, and the mag release. It can be swapped to the reverse side for left-handed users. And as you might have guessed, the magazines for these are of an existing OEM of Glock magazines. You will still be able to use your Wii and TM mags inside of this Glock. It is worth noting that if you would like to use TM mags in your AAP-01, you will have to change the gas routers to flat like the Wii mags, otherwise you won't get a great air seal. Or, ultimately, you can change the nozzle inside of your AAP-01 to a TM spec nozzle, and then you'll need the TM spec routers. It's a bit confusing, but if you get it all matching together, it will work perfectly. The magazine also features a silent fill valve, which means that when you fill it, there isn't gas spitting out everywhere, and makes for a tidier experience when filling. In terms of internals, it is almost totally the airsoft style Glock, TM spec. So I'll also show you how you take down the AAP-01. It's very simple and quick, and you can also do it whilst the magazine is still inside the gun. On the rear is a button. You simply press this in and pull it up, and it separates into two. In the lower, As you can see, the front assembly is slightly different. It is made for their unique safety system required on these buttons. When this button is protruding this way, the safety is off. When you push it inwards, the safety is on and the button is protruding this way. The magazine is kept here. I'll eject that now. Here is the hammer assembly. It is standard Glock 18C style. I have disassembled in it and I have been through it. It seems very standard to me. Ambidextrous slide or bolt release. Glock style trigger with trigger bars and trigger spring. And that's pretty much it for the lower. In terms of the upper assembly, it's very interesting actually. The barrel and receiver are connected via a thread, so you will actually soon be able to swap out barrels for either shorter or longer, and perhaps maybe internally suppressed barrel system will come eventually. It uses the new style of TM Glock hop-up. This can be adjusted externally by taking back the bolt. There is a small wheel in there. I'll see about pushing in and brightening it so you can see it. It also takes standard TM style buckings and barrels, so the same that go into Glocks and high cappers, which gives the players a lot of opportunity for range and consistency out of the box. The nozzle is kept here in the bolt and cycling unit. It is a Glock 18 style nozzle. And under here you'll find the fire selector. You can actually change this when it's all assembled, which I'll demonstrate now. To change the fire selector, just pull back the bolt, lock it back, flip upside down, and under here there is a small selector. Simply switch it between the two to change fire mode. The A stands for auto and the 1 stands for single fire. A nice satisfying click. The inner barrel of the AAP-01 is 129mm long for those who are interested. We'll also do a quick weight test for you now so you can see how much the AAP-01 weighs, both with and without a mag in it. With a mag, we're looking at 668 grams. And without a mag, we're looking at about roughly 390 grams. As mentioned earlier, Action Army have actually brought out parts for this, external parts, so you can already customize it. I have some on another AAP-01, so I'll show that now. As you can see, this version looks totally different, so I'll go over what is Action Army and what isn't, and how easy it was to install. All of these parts are made out of aluminium, by the way. Here we have a thumb rest that can be made left and right-handed. Here we have a magwell that was very easy to attach, took all but about a minute. And here is just one selection of their charging handles. They actually have a second one as well that's a bit simpler, but I like the circle style of this one. And here I have a cow style Glock trigger. Installing this trigger took a lot of time and effort. Taking down this pistol was not simple in the lower, it was not something I was familiar with. So I'm thinking about making a video to make this clear for those who want to do something similar. The reason I got this trigger is because I personally find the stock trigger quite mushy and long feeling. The break is nice and crisp, but there's a long take up until there. So I'll show that on video for you now and you can see the difference between the two. I also like how the accents are different and it all matches up nicely. These red parts also come in black, so if you're not a fan of the flashy red, they work too. Action Army also produce a rail that allows you to mount optics to it. I've gone for a Vortex Crossfire. This does replace the rear sights, however I guess this doesn't matter if you plan to attach an optic to it. So now onto some shooting tests and some footage for you. I got some footage together with a friend and he's been testing the stock gun, so everything you see is stock performance.
That's a story to tell. Like you can let it all go. You can let it all go and stop. Hey, shit free but falling out. That shit's easy. Let me show you how it's like.
FPS on a 0.2 gram BB was pretty good, fairly consistent at around 340, 330 FPS. The cycle rate was pretty quick, as can be expected from such a small bolt. We were looking at around 22 rounds per second on fully automatic. It was certainly quite accurate in semi, and a lot less so in auto. It's notable, even in slow motion, that in automatic, with something like a tracer or suppressor at the end, the barrel wobbles quite significantly, and this does impact your accuracy at range when on fully automatic. Obviously this is less so without a tracer or a suppressor, but it's worth thinking about if you plan to attach one of those. We were seeing a maximum range of about 55 meters on 0.4 grams with the stock bucking. I'd say that's pretty impressive considering it's a stock hop-up unit on a sub 100 pounds pistol. Pretty satisfactory, and the bucking could be swapped immediately and get a few more meters out of that. Our groupings at 20 meters were interesting. At 0.2 grams they could have been a bit more desirable, but once we moved to 0.3 we were seeing a much tighter grouping and something I was much more satisfied with. The efficiency on gas with the AAP-01 is really amazing. We were seeing just shy of 4 full mags. The Glock mags holds 22 rounds, so we were looking around the 80 round mark. This is pretty good in my opinion, and is definitely up there with one of the most efficient gas blowback pistols. At range, with a suppressor, it makes much more of a dull thud and is notably quieter. I'm not sure if that's because of the bolt and the way that it cycles back and forth, and maybe there's less friction and connection than with a slide, so therefore less noise. I'll put them side by side, first unsuppressed and then suppressed, and then I'll play them sort of at the same time. So what are my thoughts on the AAP-01? Is it worth it? Yes, I think this is unbelievably good value for money. It's a great platform, it's compatible with Glock components, and has huge potential. You can take the top off, you can make it modular, it is left-handed friendly, the bolt system is totally unique, the fibers are very welcome. There are a lot of features that are very desirable, but ultimately it is very similar to a Glock in terms of stock performance. But caveat to that is this is now the cheapest Glock style pistol on the market and comes in an interesting cool shape with lots of customization available out of the box. Do I think this is maybe a new contender in the pistol world? Maybe. On a long enough timeline it very well could be. It'd be very cool to see a level of customization that the Glock and High Kappa have. Who knows if we'll get there, but it would be a nice thought. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. I think the AAP-01 is so worth the money. I think it's worth crediting Action Army here. They took a risk. They made something that not many people had seen before, people that didn't even know what a Mark IV Ruger was. And they've made it. It's affordable, it looks cool, it works brilliantly, and it's new, and I think we have to applaud Action Army a bit for their creativity.